It's not that you don't want to work or improve. You're just disconnected from what actually excites you. The problem isn't your drive, it's your direction. You ever wonder if you're actually lazy or just doing the wrong shit? Here's the truth: motivation isn't your problem, inspiration is. Maybe inspiration isn't something you find, it's something you remember. Maybe you just kind of forgot who you were. Okay, welcome back. Here we are, episode 3. Ladies and gentlemen, everything in between, up top, down low. Episode 3. You're not lazy, you're just uninspired. Sound like you? Sounds like me. Bro, the amount of times in my life that I procrastinated, I swear, if you could win a gold medal, I would be the Michael Phelps of procrastination. But I think came a point when I found something that really inspired me, and then I was all in. The podcast still has no name. Terrible of me, right? I feel like I got to really sit down and think about this one, but I don't want to give it a name, and I don't know. It's like naming your dog, then it's committed, right? Maybe I'm going to give this podcast away. I don't know. But I need help coming up with a name. That's the truth of it. Someone help me come up with a name. I don't know if it should have certified in it, if it shouldn't have certified in it. I'm a wrestler. How wrestling focused should it be? Can't abandon my old self to find my new self. So many different things, but it's just a name. We're still working on that. I'm sitting on a couch this time. I think I did it on a couch the first time, but it was downstairs. Then I did it in front of my little office area, and now here we are on this black couch. This is also in my office. I've just turned the camera around. I'm not going to show you all that. Got a couple of furry pillows with me here. I think if I decide to stay here, which I probably will, I'm going to, I don't know, put some grass on the wall or something. Layla says that I need to put grass on the wall, but I'm like, every podcast studio has grass on the wall. But it's better than this white wall. This is boring. I don't even know why somebody would watch this. If I turn this on, this guy better be saying some really good stuff for me to listen to this podcast, because this is the most boring studio that I have ever seen in my life. But what I do have, which is kind of cool, is this Layla Gray pillow. I think every week I'm going to show you guys some merchandise that fans have gifted, because the fans are the best. And we love them. So look, check out this pillow. We've been taking this everywhere, from every apartment we lived in. You got Layla on one side, and check this out. Look at me on the other side. You know, sexy with my belly out. Yeah, we love stuff like this. Very near and dear to the heart. It lives in the office. This is where our creative inspiration lives. So it's all together. But yeah, this is episode 3. You're not lazy. You're just uninspired. I took a few days off. You saw the first 2 episodes were like a week apart. This is going to be about a week and a half, because when I sat down to do it originally, I had so many conflicting things in my head. Starting a new podcast, putting my voice out there. How am I going to do it? If it was going to live up to the standard that I want. I hold very high standards for myself and things that I do. I want them to be good. I want them to be authentic, most importantly. At the end of the day, if it's not good, that's fine. But as long as I like it and I'm willing to put it out there, that's fine with me. But I need it to be something authentic. I need it to be my real voice, because I'm a professional wrestler and entertainer. I so often use a fake voice. But, this is something that I want to be real. As the same with my wrestling, I always try to bring like a very authentic experience. I think that's what separates me from other characters of this world. People are going to, yes, I am certified. Woo, I'm certified. I come out in a robe, right? But who I am is me. The way that I talk, the way that I act, the way I behave, my mannerisms, my characteristics. I try to really put those in there. So I'm not a big fan of being something that I'm not. I don't want to, do a wrestling gimmick that's not aligned with who I am as a person. This was an easy way for me to express me. When people wonder what is certified, I am certified. It's everything that I do, everything that I embody. I define it, right? So it's me. It's a representation of myself. And I always want to represent myself authentically. So that's also why I wanted to start this podcast, because I wanted to talk to you guys about some of my real thoughts, my real feelings, because being a performer is great. And it's my favorite thing in the world to be able to make people smile and laugh, or make them hate me, shoot the middle finger. You know, I have so many different thoughts and opinions on pro wrestling, and what the root of it is and what people can gain from it. So I love being able to deliver those things as well. But I also wanted to show you who I am as a person, because who I am as a person is a direct reflection of the performer, right? Everything that I do in the ring, my craft, my art is all based on who I am. So now that we got going, told you a little bit of a backstory. I'm going to tell you another story today. We're going to do a story heavy episode today, but I'm going to start by telling you that it is a little hot in here right now. So I'm going to turn on the AC because your boy about to sweat. Pop the molly, I'm sweating. Woo! All right, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I turned it way down, so hopefully we stay cool for however long we sit here. The podcasts have been about 20 minutes, which is cool, but I'm really trying to get it farther than that. I think it was like 15, then 18. I haven't even got to 20 yet. Let me just try to get to 20 today. This is a lot more of a challenge than I thought it would be, so eventually we're going to be at an hour, and then I'm really going to be deep diving into things with you guys, but it's hard to sit there and talk for so long without hearing you respond, because you never say anything back. It's just me here. Okay, so let me just get into my first story, because this is episode 3. You're not lazy, you're just uninspired. So I really want to start by talking to you guys and telling you Layla and I's love story, the love story of the certified household, how we came to where we were today, because that was the point when I was really dragging through my life until I was woken up. A lot of you might know, a lot of you might not know, that I grew up as an amateur wrestler, football player, basketball, tennis, everything, man. I played every sport, BMX. I loved playing sports growing up, but it got to a point where I could get burned out a little bit. And I went through high school wrestling, and I ended up graduating high school a little bit early, and I stopped wrestling because I was dating this girl that was older than me, and it's just, I got injured. Oh my gosh, so many stupid things that made me stop what I was doing. I then tried to get into MMA a little bit later in life, which I did do. I trained with American Top Team in Kendall, and that didn't work out because I had other life issues and money and things like that. So I then decided to do what you're supposed to do in life. I bucked up. I got a career. I went to school to be a welder, and I learned a trade, which I am very grateful for. But I decided that this is what I was supposed to do in life. I had given up on that dream. I had been an athlete my whole life, man, since I was a kid. I grew up playing sports, watching sports, obsessed with football. I knew every football team. I knew every player on the team, basketball, baseball. I love sports so much. And then I just decided it was time for me to grow up, right? Become a welder, and HVAC technician, and AC guy like my grandfather was and my father was. And I did that, and I started going to school, and I started making good money, and I looked a lot different. I had really long hair. I had a super long beard. Layla, she was a bartender at the Wing House. It's similar to a Hooters, but she looks way hotter than them Hooter girls in that Wing House fit. So I'm going to this Wing House with my coworkers, who my best man George is in my wedding. Even my buddy Ludo is a coworker. He was in the wedding too. He was a groomsman. So we're going to this Wing House. They convinced me to go here. And we used to go after work, and we used to have drinks and have a great time. And man, I used to drink so much back then, and party and hang out so much. And I remember Layla was one of the bartenders, and she was in music videos and already doing things like that, trying to kind of figure out where she was going. She was always a hustler, onto her next thing. And I was this mechanic, you know, making good money, going through the school, getting ready to settle down into my career. Yeah, I probably weighed, I weighed a lot more. I looked a lot different. There's old pictures of me on my Instagram or Sometimes I show them, I post them, but I was out of shape. I was on drugs. My hair was super long. My beard was super long. I didn't take care of myself at all. Um, I had somebody's name tattooed on me. Just all kinds of crazy stuff, bro. Like, I really wasn't taking care of myself. I was dragging through life, Even though I had a career, I had things that I was working on, I was still just dragging, bro. It's because I really wasn't inspired. And I started becoming friends with Layla, and then we started dating, and she was the first person to push me in that direction. She said, "You hate that job. You hate being a welder. Why don't you quit and do something else?" And I mean, that's like one starving artist telling the other, like, "Hey, come, let's do this together." So I trusted her for some reason. Women know best. So I took her advice and I quit my job. And my life slowly began to change, but it did begin to change drastically. The person that I am now and the person that I was, they don't even compare. It's like, I've died and been born again in a new person. You wouldn't even recognize me from before. And it's because she took the time on me and she put a little bit of effort and dedication to who I was and who I was going to be. But what I was doing before, it didn't inspire me. I wasn't motivated to want to do more, want to be more, to be as successful as I could possibly be in that field, even though I worked hard and I was a standout. But it was ruining my life because then I was turning to drugs and other things to fill that void. It was crushing me. You wouldn't understand the transformation that I've made to who I am today. Go and look on my Instagram. But just me telling you, I'm sober. I'm God-fearing. I'm married to my wife, who I love. We have a great family. We have a dog. Everything's going so amazing in life. And it's because I finally found some inspiration. And it was because of what I was doing. It's literally what you're doing. Let's go a little bit deeper into it, since this is the way that we've turned. You're put on the earth for a reason. Some people believe that, some people don't. This might get a little bit spiritual. I don't want to go, beat you over the head with it. But, I feel that we're all put on this earth for a purpose. You were chosen. Your soul was chosen. The outcomes were chosen. You knew who you were going to be in this life, what the possibilities were. And this is the life that you've chosen for yourself. So you fulfill your purpose by walking in what you were designed to do, whatever your gifts are, your face, what you believe in. I'm an athlete. I was born to be an athlete. I'm born to inspire people in that way with what I do. And when I gave that up and I just got this regular job, my life began to go down. The money went up, but the life went down. My health was not good. I truly believe today that if I didn't meet my wife and I didn't find pro wrestling, I'd be dead. I truly believe that. And I definitely didn't think I was going to get a little bit emotional, but it's... I made like a handful of really good friends along the way. And even though we don't talk every day, what we have been through and where we're going means a lot to me. And these people are my inspiration and my motivation to stay on the right path. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. Because now I have inspiration because of wrestling. And I didn't even know we were going to go this way. But to just talk about not being lazy, I was definitely would be considered lazy before, even though I had a job. But I didn't take care of my body. I didn't take care of my health. I didn't eat correctly. All I did was go to work. That doesn't make you not lazy, bro. There's a lot of other things that go into being a person, a human, a spiritual being that you are required to do if you're not going to be considered lazy. Take care of yourself first. Your body is your temple. Without your body, you're nothing. Money don't mean shit, bro. It doesn't. Not if you haven't taken care of yourself. Not if you're dead. So, yeah. I guess I don't know what else to say about that. Except I went from being lazy to finding inspiration, and my life changed. I began to go back to church. I felt God again, which I hadn't for a really long time. Those of you that know me, which is very few of you, know that there was a time in my life when I wanted to be a pastor. I was super involved in church, and I burned that flame out by living in an ungodly life. I've made sure to turn that around, and I'm a completely different person today. And I found that inspiration through wrestling. I tell people all the time that, pro wrestling is my salvation. And in a lot of ways it is, because it saved me from who that I was. But really, I should say that, God is my salvation. But wrestling is my salvation because without it, I don't know where I would be. And wrestling has opened doors to so many other things that are now my new passions, my new inspirations, like doing this podcast, coming on here, talking to you guys, or being a good husband, or building a successful business with my wife, which is things that we want to do. I want to open a hotel one day. I have all these crazy ideas and things and aspirations that I want to do. But I think the first thing I had to do was find that inspiration. And what people need to understand is that inspiration, it doesn't always come in the form of a lightning bolt. Like, you think that it's just going to hit you and you're going to wake up one day and be like, oh my God, I have to do this. I have so much inspiration. It's time to go right now. No, a lot of the times inspiration is like a whisper. It just creeps into your ear. And you hear it and you have these thoughts and you're like, man, I should do this. I should do that. But then you never end up doing it because the whisper wasn't loud enough. But it was always there. And a lot of the times we have this clutter in our mind. And this clutter that we create in our mind doesn't allow us to hear the whisper. So we have distractions, pressure, chasing someone else's dreams. This will allow you to not hear the whisper, your own whisper, your own inspiration telling you where to go and what to do. Or maybe you'll just ignore it because these things seem more important at the time. And of course, you're going to feel fucking lazy because society is going to constantly put pressure on you 24/7 for not grinding all the time. Wake up and grind, go to sleep and grind all day, grind 24/7. You open up social media, we grind, and you open up Twitter, we grind, and you open up YouTube, we grind, and every single day everybody's grinding something out. And it's going to put pressure on you. It's going to make you feel lazy. But what you're not seeing is that these people are super inspired to do what they want to do. So it doesn't even feel like grinding. They're just doing it. They're just doing what they love. So where's the inspo? What's the real root of the problem? Where do you find the inspiration? I think that the lack of a vision is one of the number one things. If you can't see where you're going, you're not going to build up any momentum. So a lack of vision equals a lack of momentum. You don't build up momentum without having a clear path of knowing where you're going. I started this podcast and I thought about what can be the future of it. But every time I make an episode and I get this small amount of viewers, I think to myself, man, I should just stop doing this. This ain't worth it. But then I got to remember my vision. And I got to remember that 80 views is 2 classrooms full of people, right? If I was a professor, I'd be happy to have that. So you have to remember where the vision is, because the vision is what's going to allow me to build up momentum, because I think about what I can be and who I can become and what my voice can become. So that's inspired me to want to do this, even when there's no motivation. Because last week there wasn't. Even though I came around the house and I tried to find all these things to do, I actually did have the motivation. Let me switch that up. I did have the motivation because I sat down and I tried to do it. But I didn't have the inspiration. I didn't have the inspiration for the fucking episode. And today I do. Today I have the passion. Today I have the inspiration. I feel good about it. And I think taking that little bit of time is going to, really allow me to bring a more authentic person to you. And that's always been my goal. You have to kind of self-audit yourself and think, if you could take money out of it, like, what would you do? That's where the real inspiration is. because money holds you back and things like that. But when you think about if you took all the money out of it, what is it that you would be doing right now? That is where your real inspiration is. That's what you want to find. That's what you want to look for. You don't want to go after goals that aren't exciting you. It's an important part of having the vision. It's good to have a vision for something you think, oh yeah, if I continually do this, if I post on TikTok 3 times a day, then eventually I'm going to have a bajillion followers and people are going to think I'm famous. No, that's not how it works. Your vision needs to be something that inspires you, right? Something that excites you, something that if you took the money out of it, you would do it regardless. That's what you need to be looking for your inspiration, for your next project, for your next go-to. Don't be chasing the goals that don't excite you. Chase the ones that do excite you. Find inspiration in those. Listen to the whisper. Even when you're doing something that you might kind of enjoy or you kind of like, but when there's something that's like, man, I really wish I was doing this. This is what you got to go do. And if you chase other people's goals, that's going to drain you also. Remember that you're an individual. You have to move in that way. No matter who your parents are, your family, your girlfriend, your wife, your children, you have to go for the things that excite you. Don't follow other people's goals. Don't chase other people's goals. That's going to drain you. It's going to burn you out. You're going to get back to that point where you're like, man, am I lazy? I'm not doing anything. No, you're not doing anything that's exciting for you. You're not walking in your purpose. Of course you're not going to be happy. This is not what you were made to do, bro. You know what was put inside of you, what you were made to do. You find that through these inspirations. When things get quiet and you listen and you hear the whisper, or even when you get the lightning bolt of creativity. That's how you know. This is what I should be doing. This is what's really going to make me happy. Isn't that what we're all looking for at the end of the day? Finding a little bit of happiness. And you're only going to get it through being original. So don't copy the next person. It's not going to work. I remember, I got a good story for that. I remember when I was coming into this certified wrestling character and they were trying to find inspiration on what I need to do. One of my coaches said, hey man, listen, go for this look. He said, have you ever watched Ric Flair, Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather? Listen to them talk and emulate that. So I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm going to be these guys. And I watch a bunch of Ric Flair talking, woo! Watch a bunch of Conor McGregor talking about all the beating people up or whatever. Floyd Mayweather being Floyd. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to talk. And he said, okay, now you got to go cut a promo for the boss. This was actually what was on Netflix, the series Wrestlers that we were in at OVW. So I got to go in the boss's office now and present this character. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't sound like Ric Flair. I don't sound like Conor McGregor. I don't sound like Floyd Mayweather. So how in the hell am I supposed to go in here and pretend to be one of these guys dressed up like a dork in wrestling gear and make this guy believe in me? So then I realized, oh, you're not. What you're supposed to do is go in there and be yourself. Be Luke Curtis. Be the only version of you. The only thing that I could take from Ric Flair, Conor McGregor, and Floyd Mayweather is that they're nuts and that they love to talk shit. And they'll say whatever they want to say and whatever tune they want to say it, however they feel. Right? I can't go and say a Ric Flair line, a Conor McGregor line. It's not going to hit. Only Luke Curtis lines hit when they come out of Luke Curtis' mouth. Right? Ain't that how it goes? I do kind of think that there's a false label around the word lazy. Of course, you do have super lazy people, but I think once you find inspiration, everything can change for you. I mean, it happened to me. I used to think that I was lazy, and then I think I just realized I'm allergic to doing shit that I hate, bro. I mean, you're not lazy because you don't want to be a content creator for your company's fundraiser page. Like, no, bro, you want to create for yourself and do things for yourself. That's why you were put here, right? So, I mean, don't just consider yourself to be lazy, or if somebody says you're lazy, find inspiration. That's the whole point of it. Find inspiration in things that you love. Find goals that excite you. Don't mistake alignment for energy, because once you have purpose, you don't need the motivation anymore. You're just going to go. You're not going to have to be motivated because you're going to push in the direction of the things that inspire you, the things that love you. And then don't burn yourself out. Don't ever do it. Don't overdo it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And then when things don't start to work out for you, now you're depressed. Now you're upset because you're like, man, I gave everything to this. I put all of my energy into this and then it didn't work out. Be a well-rounded person. I think that it affects our culture today. There's a reason why you have the soft life trend. People are starting to prioritize peace and purpose over hustle because it's wearing them out. It's draining them. They can't stand to live a life where all they're doing is waking up and hustling every single day, grinding every single day, not finding who they are, watching loved ones around them die, and as all they ever saw them do was work. Never got to the root of who they really were, never really found that happiness in life. So it's definitely going to affect people in that regard. People are quitting their jobs with no backup plan because they're fed up with work. How many times have you seen a video of somebody just storming out of the restaurant or out of the office, giving the big fuck you to the boss, packing their stuff up and leaving? It's because they don't want to hear it anymore. People are getting tired of being told that they're lazy because they don't want to sit in an office all day and do paperwork or flip burgers all day in a restaurant. That's not inspiring nobody except for chefs and business people, and that's who should be doing those things, right? But when the average person is forced to do that because society is telling them that if they ain't doing it 24/7, if they ain't grinding, they're a nobody. If you go on Twitter and you see every post about this person needs to make $150,000 or I couldn't date them, people feel pressure, man, and they feel like, and then they become miserable. Mental health used to always surround itself with fix yourself. What your problem was, how can we fix it, how can we make you a better person? They always thought that was the root of the problem, but the culture has shifted to finding yourself now. It's not a matter of fixing what's wrong with you, it's a matter of finding who you really are, because nothing's probably wrong with you because you hate doing stuff that you don't want to do. You were not put here to do those things. So you got to make sure that you don't let it infect you. You don't let it affect you to the point where you start to look down upon yourself. And then you realize that, okay, maybe I'm not just a lazy person with no direction. I'm somebody who just needs to find my inspiration. So you knock out the distractions, you knock out the pressure, and you get started with something, and then you get going, everything's going good. But remember, the hardest part is always going to be starting. And even once you've started, you're going to feel such a rush of joy. You're going to have so much inspiration in your life. And then you're going to get hit with the distractions and you're going to get hit with the pressure. And that's why they say diamonds are made under pressure. Because when you direct the pressure to the right path, that's when you really start to see the success come. Because now the pressure is in the right places because it's always going to be there. The same thing with the distractions. You got to know how to remove them. Get the distractions out of your life so you can focus on what you got to do and what you want to do and how you're about to go forward and excel like never before. That's the path that we're on. 2025, that's the path we're on. Excelling to new heights, finding inspiration in things that we didn't know was there before. Remember during COVID when it was locked down and everybody had this new purpose? Nobody wanted to go back to work, and they still haven't gone back to work because so many people have found inspiration in new things, new ways to make money. It was like one of the greatest things that could happen was the lockdown. People out of work. Because now the human mind got to reset for some time and begin to process new things, new information, because you got pulled out of the cycle. You got sucked out of it. Remember what it was like to get sucked out of that cycle and then, yeah, that sounds crazy, bro. But remember what it was like to get sucked out of that cycle and then your mind reset and find all that new inspiration, all those things you were doing. You're probably going to the gym every day, riding bikes. Me and Layla, we got a kayak. We were kayaking all over Biscayne Bay, all over South Beach. It was amazing. We were in our little adventure era then, and now we take adventures all the time. We love to go to other countries and climb mountains and do stuff like that. So we need a Vegas vacation, Vegas adventure. If anybody has any good spots out here, let me know. But we were able to find inspiration during COVID. We had our first wrestling matches during that because we were looking for something to do. Okay, now it's time to do something. We can't sit around and do nothing. But once you're locked into that cycle, that's where you're stuck. So remember to be able to get out of that and give yourself time to work on, either finding your inspiration or the things that inspire you. and excite you. Go head on into those goals. The other things, kind of put them on the back burner, because you have to put 100% effort into something if you want it to succeed the way that you want it to succeed. That's very important. Having a backup plan or a safety net, at times it can hurt your goals, because you're always going to remember that, hey, you know what, if this don't work out, I got this back there. But when you're on crunch time and you're like, this is all I got, this is my last chance, without this, I'm going to be nothing, you're going to find success. That was me with wrestling. I knew that if I wasn't a wrestler, I would probably be dead or a drug addict or living on the streets. And I couldn't have that happen. Oh, my nose. So if anybody was ever wondering, what inspires me, what drives me to be certified, I'm running from my old life, bro. I don't want to go back to that. So I'm inspired to be a new person. I used to be addicted to drugs. Now I'm addicted to self-improvement. Day after day after day, trying to better myself. I know what my problems are. You know what your problems are. Everybody does. So your goal is to work on those, get the clutter out of your mind. A lot of those problems and a lot of those things that you're not working on, they're creating clutter in your mind because you're always thinking, man, this is what I did. This is who I am. This is the bad that I've done in life. Work on those things, fix those things, and push yourself into new heights and finding your true inspiration. So you got to remove that mind clutter. Listen to that whisper. Listen to it. Just listen to the whisper come in and start to focus on that, and focus on the motivation. And that will give you your path on where you need to go and what you need to do. Listen, I used to think I was lazy too. I used to beat myself up about it. I used to put so much pressure on myself. And then I took the time to hear myself. I removed the clutter and I began to listen, and I began to understand who I really am and what I'm really supposed to do in my life. And when I begin to move that way, I begin to find success. I begin to find better health. I begin to find better love and better relationships. So just remember, maybe it's not your fault. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're just overdue for a reset. Don't chase the pressure. Chase your purpose. And once you find that, the inspiration is going to come, and it's going to motivate you to be something that you could have never imagined. So I'm going to leave you with that. Episode 3 of the podcast with no name. You're not lazy. You're just uninspired. Thank you so much for listening again. I love you all so much. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to know, engage with me in any way. If you got a name for the podcast, please give it to me. I need your help. I was going to say, drop your comments if you have an idea, something you want to hear, a topic for the next episode. But then I was going to say, don't do that. I will decide, because I am Father, and Father decides what we talk about. But go ahead. If you have something, drop it in there. Let me know. If nobody says anything, I'm making my whatever I want to make it. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit subscribe. Watch the first 2 episodes. Tell somebody about me. And I love you all. Stay certified.